Hi, welcome back to Sover, the still working on this game. In the last video I mentioned that the Tetris solver that I made was pretty bad, so now I decided to make 1,000 more of them and make them fight each other. As you can see here, there are 6 rated games playing at the same time, and every solver has an ELO rating because this was inspired by chess. More specifically, the Chess website where you can see chess bots playing against each other. Although the skill difference between them isn't that big, so the leaderboards are a bit unreliable. And that's because all of them essentially work in the same way. All they do is that they look at a given board and try to decide how hard it would be to not lose while playing on it. And they do this in a pretty simple way. They just count certain things about the board, like how high it is and how smooth it is, and how many holes there are, and whether any lines are full or not. And the only difference between them is how important they think each of those values are, which is really tricky to get right because of how Tetris works. Like for example, if you prioritize on not making holes, you might make these really big columns. And if you prioritize on not making columns, then you might make holes. And I found all of these solvers by randomizing their values. And then I made all of them play 24 games of Tetris and counting the amount of times they topped out in 80 moves. And then I gave them different titles based on how well they performed. I based those titles on chess as well. If they never topped out, they get the title Grand Wizard. If they topped out once, they get International Wizard. If they topped out twice, then they get
Fédération internationale des sorciers.
Wizard.
And if they topped out 3 times, then they get the Candidate Wizard title. But as you can see from the leaderboard, what title a solver has doesn't really determine their skill. Although there are only 31 Grand Wizards, whereas there are over 500 Candidate Wizards. And because the rating system is not all that reliable, I created a tournament mode. And there you can make 32 solvers fight against each other. But of course this is also very random. You can argue that it's more random than the rating system itself. But at the end of the day, it is pretty fun to watch them play against each other. I'm gonna speed it up so we can see who wins, since this can go on for a really long time. This time actually the number 1 solver managed to win, which is solver number 121. This is the default solver you get when you play the game, but you can select whichever one you like. I let them play against each other for a few days, and this was the solver that was the most reliable in that time. But they also have the tendency to mess up sometimes, just like all the other solvers. But I can't really confidently say that this is the best solver out of all of the 1000 other solvers. But as I said, you can select any one of them, and your selected solver has a higher chance of getting picked for the random matches. And that's about it for the solvers. This was a relatively small project, but I really wanted to make this ever since I made the first solver. Oh, and I also put the original solver in the leaderboard. Currently they are third to last place, but I have seen them 100 points lower than the rest of them before, so I don't really have high hopes for them to be the champion of cursory solvers. But they do have the title Original Wizard. Anyways, bye!